Hey y'all, so we are going to talk about lesson 5.1, which is going to cover the nth roots, radicals, and rational exponents. So I made a typo on this lesson and I thought I replaced it, but apparently didn't. If your notes show that C is the index, correct that. That C should be N and the C is your radicand, okay? So this little number here that's written off inside the little root symbol, the radical, is your index. The number that's underneath the radical is your radicand. Okay, so make sure that if your notes have the uncorrected version that you see here, replace C with N and N with C. Okay? All right. So you may or may not use this section of notes here that has all these uh, expressions. That's totally fine. But I still went ahead and gave them to you. All right. So example 1, find all real nth roots. Find the specified roots of each number. And the little hint there is very, very important. If you have an odd index, then your answer is positive only. Odd index, your answer is positive only. An even index means that your answer is both positive and negative. Some people get confused with that note. If you need to write a circle around or highlight that, then do so. Odd index, positive, and an even index, positive and negative. That's what that means. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Part A. The real cube root of 125. So cube root means that your index is going to be 3. 125 is going to be your radicand. So your cube root, 3 is your index because cube in math means 3. Okay. Cube root of 125. 125 is your radicand. Okay. So as you can see there, we wrote the cube root of 125. Okay. You may or may not see this written also as the cube root of 125 and then a parentheses with an understood 1. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to see it written like this. You're not going to see a 1 out there. Okay. Now, how would I write that as an exponent? Well, to write as an exponent, that's like here. 125, your radicand, raised with the exponent of being 1 over 3, because this is understood 1 exponent out here with a 3 index. Your index is always your denominator. That comes from right here. If you look at this section right here, this is the form that we were in where our N is 3, our C is 125, our M is 1. We're going to write it as C. Our C is 125 raised to the M, where M is 1, over N, where N is 3. Now, if you wanted to actually solve for that and get the answer, what is the cube root of 125? You can type in your calculator either way that you see here. You can type in your calculator exactly how you see right here. The cube root of 125. I believe the cube root is math option maybe 3. I don't have a calculator with me here, but I think it's math option 3 is the cube root. Or you can type in 125 and use the exponent. The exponent button is over there by the divide button and the clear button. It looks like this. This button is your exponent button. So type in 125, click that button, and then 1 over 3 to type in a fraction. Remember, fraction is alpha option 1. Alpha option number 1, if you click number 1, it'll give you a fraction. So click 125, your exponent button, and then alpha option 1 will give you a fraction where you type in 1 over 3. Click enter, and your calculator will give you 5. Okay, so because our index is odd, because our index is 3, then my answer is going to be only the positive answer, only positive 5. Okay. All right, now with part B, the real fourth root, because I have the fourth root, my index is going to be 4. And 16 is going to be your radicand. Okay, radicand. So your index is 4. Now again, you may see it written like this, the fourth root of 16 with a parentheses understood 1. Okay. And then 16 raised to the 1 over 4. Remember, your index is always your denominator. Your index in this case, which is 4, that little number over there, is always the denominator of your fraction. Now, to evaluate, again, you can type in either format there. You can type in the fourth root of 16 like this, or the fourth root of 16 as an exponent using your exponent button in alpha option 1. And the calculator will give you 2. Now, why do I have this plus minus sign in front of 2? That is because my index is even. And if you look up there at the hint, even index, your answer is positive or negative. Okay, there's the 2 answers for A and B. Same thing. Fourth root of 81, cube root of 64. Write them as both of these. Both of these mean the same exact thing. It's just different formats. Okay. Why am I positive and negative here? I have an even exponent. Why am I only positive 4 here? I have an odd index. I think I said exponent over here. An even index, odd index. Okay. Example 2. Explain what each fractional exponent means, then evaluate. So we're going to be going backwards. We were given the verbal. Now we're going to be going to the exponent, rational exponent, into the radical form and the verbal form. So remember, your denominator is always your index. Your numerator is always your exponent. And then your base is going to be your radical. Okay. The easiest thing to remember is your index is always your denominator. That means the fourth root of 16. And when you evaluate that, you get positive, negative because you have an even index. Part B, your numerator is your exponent, denominator is your index, and then your base is your radicand. So that is when you read it in words, that is going to be the cube root of 27 squared. Cube root of 27 squared, which if you type that in your calculator, for this format, you can type in either way. It may be easier for you to type in the 2/3 exponent by using the exponent button. And alpha option 1, your calculator will give you 9. The answer is only positive because you have an odd index. Okay. Your next 2, same thing. Your numerator is your exponent. Your denominator is your index. That is 25, the square root of 25, positive and negative 5, because your index is even. The numerator is your exponent. Denominator is your index. Your base is your radicand. The fifth root of 32 squared. May be easier for you to type in the exponent form here into your calculator. To type in a fifth root, I don't think I said this on anywhere else. I believe that's going to be math option number 4, where it's got like an N with a root. This will allow you to type in any number for your index. Okay. I believe it's math option 4, possibly. Math option 5, 6, one of those. Click the math button and scroll down and find it. And then my answer is only positive because I have an odd index. All right, for example 3, this is just you simply typing in your calculator. For option A, if you wanted to get practice of rewriting, here's you an example of rewriting that you can rewrite where your numerator is your exponent, denominator is your index. Okay, that's just an example for you to rewrite if you choose to. Or just go ahead and type in 32 raised to the 3/5 in your calculator. Your calculator will give you 8. Only positive because my index is odd. For part B, Same thing. Be careful to type in a negative sign. The negative sign looks like this button down at the bottom by 0. When you type it in, you will get 1/9 as your answer. If you get it as a decimal, convert it to a fraction. Make sure you know how to do that. Your answer is only positive because you have an even index. C. Type in either this way or get fractions. Fractional exponents practice with rewriting here. Your denominator is always your index. I believe this is a typo. That's approximately positive and negative because your index is even. Should be approximately positive negative 18.8. Your index is even, so your answer should be positive and negative. Oh, nope. I lied. I just noticed here. Because I have a negative out here, your answer is going to be only negative 8. They throw that in there so you'll know anytime your answer has a negative, then your answer is only going to be negative, even though you have an even index. Part B, you have an odd index, so your answer is only odd. Maybe easier for you to rewrite this using a fractional exponent. Either way, you can type it in whichever you choose in your calculator. This whole example 3 is just basically making sure you can type these into your calculator and get the answers. So make sure if you have any issues with any of these, when I return, I can help you type those in. It is your job to make sure that you can go from your question to your answer using your calculator. If you cannot get to these, then get with me and I will help you. All right, simplify the nth roots. These are so super easy. Do not miss these for any reason. Okay, you're going to take the 5th root. Okay, the 5th root. You're going to have to use math option. I wish I had a calculator with me to see what option it was, but math option 3, 4, whatever the option is that has an N as your index. Okay, that's the button that you're going to want to use. You're going to treat each one of these separate. You're going to treat the 5th root of 32. You're going to use your calculator for that part. Okay, you're going to use your calculator for that part. Now, you are going to divide. Ignore this middle section here. I don't like how the book taught you, so I'm going to show you a little shortcut. I'm going to change colors here. Once you take the 5th root of 32, which your calculator will give you 2, you're going to divide your exponent by your index. 15 divided by 5 is 3. That's all you got to do. Over here, oh, and because your index is odd, your answer is only positive. Okay, option B. You have an even index. Even index means positive or negative. Keep that in mind, okay? Because you only have variables and a constant, you're not going to need your calculator here. What is 20 divided by 4? 5. 8 divided by 4? 2. I'm going to use the absolute value bars to represent positive and negative. Okay? Then you may also see this written as, if you see here, let me erase this. If you see here, you may also see this written where the y squared is written outside of the absolute value bar, because no matter what your answer is, positive or negative, your answer is going to be positive. So you can see that written as either way, with the absolute value bar over both or over just your odd exponents. I believe for this book, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see it written like this. All right? Same thing here. The cube root of negative 8. Now, the cube root of negative 8, make sure that you put that in your calculator, and the calculator will give you negative 2. Only negative 2 because I have a cube root. My answer is going to be only negative 2. I know that previously I said cube indexes, odd indexes, positive and negative. In this case, because your answer or your question has a negative, your answer is going to have a negative. So the cube root of negative 8, your calculator is going to tell you negative 2. And then 3 divided by 3 is understood 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So this middle section, just ignore it. This middle section, again, ignore it. I think I put a hint. Yeah, look at this hint here. Absolute value around even index and or odd exponent. Okay, so because I have an even as a 4, I'm going to put absolute value bar. So the 4th root of 256, use your calculator for that. Your calculator will tell you 4. Okay, then 12 divided by 4 is 3. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then down here at the bottom, super easy. To get from this step to this step, you are going to divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 64 divided by 2 is 32. Then I'm going to take the fifth root to get rid of a 5 exponent. The fifth root, your fifth root and exponent will cancel and leave you with x. The fifth root of 32, use your calculator for this, will give you 2. Same thing over here, divide both sides by 5. 320 divided by 5 is 64. Then you're left with x cubed. Take the cube root of x cubed because your cube root cancels. The cube root is 64. Use your calculator. Will give you 4. And then the last one, divide both sides by 2. P to the 4th power equals 81. Take the fourth root to eliminate your fourth root and your fourth exponent. The fourth root of 81, use your calculator. Positive negative 3 because your